What we have discovered is that numerous features of the Kuiper belt, a field of icy debris beyond the orbit of Neptune, can be understood if the solar system possesses an additional ninth planet that resides well beyond the orbits of the known planets.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Studio 64. My name's David. I've been searching the interzones for more science, space and tech news to share with you. Came across this at Live Science. Yes, Planet 9 is the search for this elusive world nearly over, which should be interesting. Astronomers have been scouring the outer solar system for signs of a hypothetical ninth planet for almost a decade without success. However, we may finally be on the cusp of finding it, experts say. This should be really interesting. That's a really nice artist's rendition there, isn't it? Fascinating. Looks like it might be a gas giant or something like that. Interesting stuff. Yeah, scientists think there may be a ninth planet hiding in the distant reaches of the solar system, and a new telescope could finally prove its existence. Awesome. All right, let's see what they've got to say for themselves. Deep in the outer reaches of the solar system, so far away from the known planets that the sun would barely be distinguishable from a nearby star, a massive icy world may be lurking in the shadows, waiting to be discovered by humanity. And the day that we finally find this elusive planet may be coming soon, thanks to a state-of-the-art telescope that will begin scanning the sky next year. Yes, the solar system has 8 official planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. But in recent years, astronomers have proposed that a ninth world, imaginatively nicknamed Planet 9, could be hiding in the far reaches of our cosmic neighbourhood. And now, as usual, I'll leave the link to the main article below the video so you can pop in, check out these embedded links, go for a bit of a deeper dive if you want beyond the main article. Does make for a very interesting read, believe me. Yes. And no, we're not talking about poor old Pluto. So I did a video on it. Mine was demoted. Check it out on the channel. Which was demoted from full planetary status to dwarf planet in 2006. Instead, scientists believe Planet 9 is a gas or ice giant billions of miles farther out than the rest of the planets. If it exists, it could also rewrite our understanding of the solar system's origins and evolutions. I wonder if Planet 9 has moons. Are there any astrophysicists out there that could propose the possibility it could have moons? Because there could be life on them. As I've discussed with planets in other videos like Neptune, its moons are believed to have a warm ocean under its surface on some of the moons. Now, the reason for that is everyone says, well, it's too far away from the sun with light and everything else. No, we've discovered the tidal forces between the moon and the gas giant. Stretching in and out actually creates heat. So we could have something living in those oceans under the surface. Similar tidal effects between our moon and Earth. How it affects our tides. Same difference on these other planets, except these ones generate internal heat. I wonder if Planet 9 has got something similar. Interesting. Yes, astronomers have predicted how big this hypothetical world could be, how far away it could lie, and even where it should be in its orbit around the sun. Yet actually finding Planet 9, sometimes called Planet X, has eluded scientists for nearly a decade. Yes, but the hunt for the solar system's potential ninth planet may soon be coming to a close with the opening of the groundbreaking Vera C. Rubin Observatory in 2025. We may either finally find Planet 9 within the next few years or rule out the idea for good, experts told Live Science. Now, got ourselves a little video, a bit of background on Planet 9. We'll check it out, some scientists, and then we'll carry on the conversation when we come out the other side.
What we have discovered is that numerous features of the Kuiper belt, a field of icy debris beyond the orbit of Neptune, can be understood if the solar system possesses an additional ninth planet that resides well beyond the orbits of the known planets.
When we looked at the outer solar system, we realized that while most of the very distant objects, these objects beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, most of these objects, they all go around the sun and they're all sort of pointing off in all different directions. But the most distant objects all swing out in one direction in a very strange way that shouldn't happen. And we realized that the only way we could get them to all swing in one direction is if there is a massive planet, also very distant in the solar system, keeping them in place while they all go around the sun. And we started looking at this and thinking, this must be either a coincidence or it's caused by something else. It can't be caused by a planet because that's crazy. There are no planets out there. I went from trying very hard to be skeptical that what we were talking about was true to suddenly thinking, oh, this actually might even be true.
So the object itself likely is more massive than the Earth, probably a little bit less massive than Neptune. It sits right in between that terrestrial to giant icy planet range. Its orbit, unlike the orbits of the known planets, is not nearly circular and planar. Instead, it is exceptionally wide, 20 times bigger than the orbit of Neptune. The orbital period of the Earth is, of course, 1 year. Right? The orbital period of Jupiter, the big player in our solar system, is about 10 years. The orbital period of this putative ninth planet is 20,000 years.
We have nothing like it in the solar system, so it's new for us. It is, however, the most common mass of planets that have been found around all of the other stars. People have always looked at all these other planets in this strange mass range and said, wow, I wonder what these are. I don't know what these are because we don't have anything like it in the solar system. Looks like maybe we do. There are many telescopes on the Earth that actually have a chance of being able to find it. And I think that many people will be inspired to use their telescopes. I'm really hoping that as we announce this, people start a worldwide search to go find this ninth planet.
History shows us that it's a bad idea to consistently say we have now reached the end of the solar system and there's nothing beyond what we already know.
And all those people who are mad that Pluto is no longer a planet can be thrilled to know that there's a real planet out there still to be found.
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? I quite enjoyed that. I love a little bit of background on these sort of things. Again, from scientists themselves. Not a scientist. I just love science, space, and tech news and sharing it with everybody. And if you're wondering why I'm sweating a little profusely lately, it's because it's 94 million degrees here because it's Australia and we're in summer. Yes. Yes, it's really difficult to explain the solar system without Planet 9. Mike Brown, an astronomer at Caltech, who proposed the Planet 9 hypothesis, along with a colleague, told Live Science, but there's no way to be 100% sure it exists until you see it. And there we are. What's this? The unusual orbits of the trans-Neptunian objects in and around the Kuiper Belt suggest something massive is hidden out in the solar system. Yeah, it's a little hypothesis for Planet 9, so this is where it would be hiding. Very interesting artist rendition, isn't it? Fascinating. Yes, the idea of a ninth planet in the solar system was first seeded by the discoveries of Uranus in 1781 and Neptune in 1846, more than 3,000 years after the other planets were first spotted by the Babylonians. These discoveries proved that the solar system was much larger than humanity had once thought and raised the possibility that other worlds were waiting to be discovered. God, it just amazes me, which proves to me, and then we proved it with exoplanets in the 90s. No, there's no other planets out there. Our solar system's the only one. Just like the Babylonians discovering planets, and we, discovered these new ones, these, Uranus and Neptune, knowing our solar system was bigger. In the 90s, we discovered these exoplanets, making our universe a little bigger or a little smaller, perhaps, depending on the way you look at it. So what are we going to discover next? It's got to be a life-bearing world. There has to be somewhere. Would it be great if it was in our solar system, though? That'd be interesting, especially with these moons around these gas giants. But other than the now demoted Pluto, no full-fledged planets beyond Neptune or the Kuiper Belt, a massive ring of asteroids, comets, and dwarf planets that orbit the Sun beyond Neptune have shown up since. And as astronomers mapped more of the outer solar system, it seemed increasingly unlikely that they were missing something as large as a planet. However, in 2004 discovery changed that. Scientists found that Sedna, a potential dwarf planet located beyond the Kuiper Belt, had a weird orbit around the Sun, and its unusual trajectory hinted that another large mass in the outer solar system was gravitationally pulling on the mini-world. But without more information, this hypothesis was hard to prove. Then, in a 2014 study, astronomers announced that they had detected a smaller object in the Kuiper Belt named 2012 VP113 with an eccentric orbit similar to Sedna's. The findings also hinted that a more eccentric trans-Neptunian objects, TNOs, were waiting to be found. That would be absolutely amazing, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's clearly we look at these things and we can see, well, each of these objects is affected by the orbit, the gravity, of another object, But what is that object? It's quite interesting. These findings caught the attention of Brown and fellow Caltech astronomer Konstantin Batygin, sorry, Konstantin, if I mispronounced your name there, who noticed that both Sedna and 2012 VP113 had the same kink in their orbits. This shared irregularity, which caused the object to briefly dip below the known planet's plane of orbit, suggested that something, such as a large asteroid dump, a dwarf planet, or even a full-fledged world, was tugging on these objects. Very interesting indeed. Yes, the orbits of the eccentric TNOs have helped develop researchers fill in the pieces of the Planet 9 puzzle. And this is from Caltech. Here we go. So the theory is, as you can see here, I'm pointing at Planet 9's out here, somewhere in this orbit, and it's clearly affecting the orbits of all these other objects. Yeah. Including Sedna. Another dwarf planet. Definitely a possibility. And of course, sometimes it's called Planet X, which I'm assuming came from the fact that it was thought about before Pluto was demoted. But it is interesting. Could this be? I think there's that many myths and conspiracy theories about another planet in the solar system. Now we know there's an asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. I'm just wondering, could that be the remains of a planet too? Interesting. As I said, not an astronomer. I'm just, thinking aloud here and, just wondering. But wouldn't it be fascinating if there was another large planet out here in this area? It'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing to discover it. I reckon you could, what's the old expression? You could drink for free at any university bar that had a strong science program. if you discovered Planet 9, if you actually proved its existence. As I say, it wouldn't be good for your liver, but you could drink for free. Fascinating. At the beginning, we didn't say there was a planet because we thought that was a ridiculous thing for there to be. Brown, who also co-discovered Sedna, well, why would it be a ridiculous thing for there to be? You've co-discovered Sedna, so if you're out there looking for objects in space, why is it so ridiculous to say, we didn't say there was a planet because we thought that was a ridiculous thing. Why did you just say you were looking for a planet? Anyway, might just be me. And was instrumental in Pluto's planetary demotion. Right. So it's his fault. Okay. Told Live Science, but we tried a lot of different things to explain what we were seeing, and nothing else worked. We've got someone to blame, this Brown fellow, yes. Good old Pluto getting the from planetary status. Even after the pair realised the ninth planet was possible, they decided to sit on their findings until they could come up with another less controversial explanation. This is what I mean. I don't understand why. I said, look, we're just looking for one. We don't know if there's a possibility of one. If there isn't one, that's great. We've eliminated. If Leighton eliminated that possibility, if there is one, great. Let's explore this other planet. But the thing is, we're not going to know until we look. But, let's not be controversial about, oh, for God's sake. We're just going to have a look. If there's something in it, there's something in it. If there's nothing in it, there's nothing in it. It's not that difficult. However, they found 4 more TNOs with matching misshaped orbits, which suddenly made a missing planet look like the most logical explanation. I reckon it's a bunch of aliens having a few beers, sitting out in their sun deck in their mothership, and they've got this little magnet. and they're just pulling these planets the other way, going, hey, look at the humans are pointing the humans are pointing their telescope this way. Get your little magnet out. It's probably something as dumb as that. No, but seriously, as I say, I don't see it's a problem. What, hey, I've got the funding, I've got the skills, I've got the equipment, say, for hypothetical astronomers. Let's go in and see if there's a planet. If there is, there is. If there isn't, there isn't. Fascinating. At the time, the duo calculated there was just a 2% chance that all 6 TNOs they had studied shared their orbital oddities thanks to random chance. Now, and as soon as you see that, you're like, oh crap, there's a planet there, Brown said. Yes, you've got to make up a new planet because I think the ghost of, was it Clyde Tombaum or whatever his name was, the guy that discovered Pluto, has probably been haunting him in his dreams. So in 2016, Brown and Batygin published their Planet 9 hypothesis, which has captured the public's imagination ever since. Interesting. Yes, filling in the gaps. Now, since 2016, Brown, Batygin and others have continued the hunt for Planet 9. Although they have not found it yet, they have discovered even more eccentric TNOs, bringing the total to 13 and further strengthening the case for Planet 9. These discoveries also constrain Planet 9's potential size, its distance from the Sun, and its orbital trajectory through the solar system. Wouldn't it be interesting if this Planet 9, with these other objects, had an effect on each other to the point where we saw this tidal forces generating internal heat with the stretching and the contracting and the stretching of these little what do you call it, dwarf planets and things like that there could be some sort of liquid ocean on them and possibly supporting life as well. That'd be fascinating, wouldn't it? Fascinating, absolutely amazing. Yes, there. Yep, and yep, there we go. These discoveries also constrain Planet 9's potential size and distance from the Sun and its orbital trajectory through the solar system. Okay, our best estimates are that it's about 7 times more massive than the Earth, or anywhere between 5 and 10 times the mass of our planet. Brown said this would make the 5th most massive planet in the solar system, behind Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. He added. Planet 9's composition is probably most like Neptune due to its distance from the Sun, Brown said. But that would put its diameter at something like 2 times the width of the Earth, he added. Some scientists have also suggested Planet 9 could be surrounded by moons, just as the hefty gas giants are. Okay, so there's a possibility of our tidal forces there. I love this. It's really difficult to explain the solar system without Planet 9. Oh, Mike Brown. Yeah, it's really interesting. As again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. It's intriguing to me, and just the thought there could be like a mini planetary system there with this Planet 9 and all its little moonlets running around. It would be absolutely amazing. If it exists, Planet 9 is likely around 500 astronomical units away from the Sun on average, meaning it's 500 times further from the Sun than Earth is. This may sound distant, but similarly sized exoplanets have been discovered orbiting alien stars at equally massive distances, showing that this is possible. This far out, it could take between 5,000 and 10,000 years for Planet 9 to complete a single trip around the Sun. Its orbit is probably highly elliptical, so its distance from the Sun would vary widely over time. It also does likely not orbit on the same plane as the rest of the planets, which makes it even trickier to find. Yeah, that wouldn't help, would it? Yeah. Interesting. God, that'd be... You'd die before you... If you're a human on this planet, you'd die before your 2nd birthday. I'm really old. How are you? 3 months. God, you're an idiot, David. Planet 9's unusual orbit and extreme distance from the Sun also raised the possibility it could be a rogue planet, an interstellar world that was captured by the Sun after being ejected from its star system. However, Brown and Batygin believe Planet 9 likely formed alongside the other planets in the solar system. Yes, based on its distance from the Sun, Planet 9 likely has a composition as of Uranus left and Neptune on the right. Yeah, so in other words, gas giant. Definitely, I would suspect. But again, that's like the theory that was posited when I was young, that Jupiter was a mini sun. that never sort of developed or something along those lines. That's, when I was much younger and people were talking, my science teachers at school were talking about it, was being raised as a possibility. Kind of sort of wrong, kind of sort of right, in the respect that they've got these little worlds running around that could possibly have a life on them. So it's quite interesting. Interesting indeed. Is it really out there? Many astronomers are cautiously optimistic about Planet 9's existence. It is quite likely that Planet 9 exists. Alessandro Morbidelli, magnificent name by the way, an astronomer at the Côte d'Azur Observatory in France, told Live Science in an email there are several indirect lines of evidence in favour of its existence, added Morbidelli, who reviewed Brown and Batitkin's 2016 paper before its publication. Now, David Rabinowitz, an astrophysicist at Yale University, agreed that something is likely out there and Planet 9 is the best explanation so far, he told Live Science. The discoveries of additional eccentric TNOs since Planet 9 was first proposed have maintained confidence in this theory, but not everyone is convinced that Planet 9 is real. It has been a roller coaster. I've gone from thinking it was 90% there to 10% and all around. Sean Raymond, a researcher at the Bordeaux Astrophysics Laboratory in France, told Live Science in an email, I'm rooting for it to be there, but I'm still agnostic on whether I believe it's there or not. Me, I'm just hopeful. I'm hoping it's there. If not, and we can eliminate it, we then need to figure out what makes all these orbits so eccentric. Because at the moment the theory is there's a Planet 9 and it's skewing these orbits over here on the left with these trans-Neptunian objects, such as our little dwarf planet Sedna. In that case, what's doing it? Love to find out. Any thoughts on any thoughts or possibilities on it from astronomers? Please feel free to comment below the video. Really appreciate it. Doubts about Planet 9 are rooted in an alternative potential explanations for the strange behaviour seen among TNOs. For instance, the gravitational anomalies Brown and Batygin flagged might be caused by a baby black hole. There you go, there's one explanation. An invisible giant disk of dust, or a historic close encounter with a rogue planet. Alternatively, the TNOs may be evidence that model of gravity needs to be tweaked. Or again, as I said, aliens messing with humans, playing with their telescopes. Yes, humans are there going, oh, look at that. And there's aliens with their little magnets. Others believe the apparent TNO kinks are simply an observational bias because it's easier to spot TNOs that are closer to Earth than more distant ones. Samantha Lawler, an astronomer at the University of Regina in Canada, and a prominent critic of the Planet 9 hypothesis, told Live Science in an email. I believe there are a lot of really interesting bodies left to discover in the outer solar system, Lawler said, but Planet 9 is not one of them, she added. However, Brown and Batygin can discount the notion that observational bias is creating the illusion of a ninth planet. I am as confident as you can possibly be that the ninth planet exists until you actually find it. Interesting. Well, why haven't we found it? So if Planet 9 does exist, why haven't we spotted it yet? The short answer is that the hidden planet is very, very far away, Brown said. Light reflected off the planet that would be very dim by the time it travelled across most of the solar system twice, which makes it all but impossible to see. Now, initially, the researchers had also had no idea where the planet was along its predicted orbital path, which means they've had to study a huge region of the sky to look for this faint body, akin to trying to find a single white whale in an ocean, Brown said. Interesting. Interesting indeed. So far, researchers have analysed thousands of images from multiple sky surveys along Planet 9's proposed orbital pathway, looking for objects that move over time, Brown said. And this is data from the Pan-STARRS 1 observatory in Hawaii has already narrowed down where Planet 9 may be hiding. There you go. I was watching a video on YouTube a while back about a guy that's basically built one of these in his backyard. I think he's sort of got a man shed at the bottom, you know, that's his little man cave down the bottom. He's built this great telescope up the top. That'd be awesome. down there with the boys and a few beers, listening to the football or something like that, and popping up the ladder every so often, and listening to the radio with the game on, and just up there observing the stars with a few cold ones. That'd be excellent, wouldn't it? Absolutely amazing. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yep, like one of those myself. Unfortunately, the night sky is teeming with bright moving objects such as comets, so the researchers have to sort through a lot of garbage to find the planet, Brown said. In their most recent work, Brown and Matigan analysed data from the Panoramic Survey Telescope and Rapid Response System, or PAN-STARRS, at the Haleakala Observatory in Hawaii, and confidently ruled out around 78% of the suspected orbital pathway as possible hiding places for the planet. This has narrowed down Planet 9's location to somewhere in the most distant 22% of its orbital pathway. Unfortunately, telescopes like PAN-STARRS are not powerful enough to properly search this space, which, even though they've reduced it down to 22%, it would take you a while to walk around it if it was a big square. Yes, it's going to take them a very, very long time. When will we find it? If Planet 9 is hiding in the most distant reaches of its orbit, we need a telescope powerful enough to spot it. Brown and Matigan have already begun analysing data from Japan's Subaru telescope in Hawaii, which has a better chance of finding the planet than PAN-STARRS does. But if this survey fails to complete the job, they will turn to the forthcoming Vera C. Rubin Observatory, which is under construction in Chile. This ground-based telescope, which will be equipped with the world's largest digital camera, will let researchers peer farther into the solar system than any of its predecessors allowed, similar to how the James Webb Space Telescope has enabled researchers to look farther across the observable universe than ever before. The observatory is currently slated to open in late 2025, so only another year to go. Yes, here we go. Astronomers think the forthcoming Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile will finally allow them to spot Planet 9. There we go. So it's under construction there. You can see the equipment. Oh, that's a better shot. Look at that. Oh. Look at this. Look at the size of that over there compared to this. I wonder if that is another telescope. That's cool, isn't it? I like the Parkes radio telescope here in Australia. That's awesome. A lot of history to it too. Help with the moon landings and stuff like that, I just love it, obviously because it's Australian and I'm Australian, but it's just it's been doing work and it's still going, and it's just incredible. I love it. All right, so with the help of the state-of-the-art telescope, Planet 9 could be found within the next 2 years, Brown said. However, he also joked that he'd been saying the same thing every year since 2016. Yeah, sounds like nuclear fusion. Yeah, let's give it another couple of years. Yeah, it doesn't mean we're not going to get there, but it's like nuclear fusion. It's every 5 years, it's always 30 years away, But I think with nuclear fusion, all of a sudden, boom, one day it's going to be there and we're not having to wait another 30 years. It's going to be the same as Planet 9. We'll be saying, another 2 years, boom, hello, here it is. Raymond and Rabinowitz both agree that Planet 9 can be found within a year after the Rubin Observatory comes online. If the telescope cannot find the planet within the first few years, however, then the hypothesis is pretty much dead, Raymond said. But Morbidelli and Rabinowitz pointed out that even if the telescope does not find the planet immediately, it could still identify more TNOs, which will help show if the theory is viable. And eventually we're going to have a probe going there, right? We're going to have a probe. If Planet 9 is discovered, space agencies will likely send probes to visit the distant world. And why does Planet 9 matter? See, my theory is that we're going to become that curious, even if we don't find it. We're going to be visiting dwarf planets like Sedna eventually, and we'll go to these trans-Neptunian objects and eventually we'll visit them. And while we're there, we'll just make sure the timing's right for that orbit, which we can see back up here, right? And we'll go, look, best time for us to go and visit these trans-Neptunian objects as they're within this little area here, or, when Planet 9's at its closest, we'll figure out a time we'll go there. Yeah. So maybe it'll be an observational thing, but we'll definitely go and see, about Sedna and things like that. Although scientists remain divided over Planet 9's existence, one thing they all agree on is that actually finding the elusive world would be the biggest solar system discovery of the century. It would be a remarkable find, Raymond said. It would also be huge for our understanding of the solar system's origins and evolution, he added. Now, observing that planet could also teach us more about the formation and evolution of giant planets, Morbidelli said. This would not only help us learn more about planets in the solar system, but also shed light on thousands of giant exoplanets around distant stars. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Yeah. Because if we can get close-ups of this, it's like the observation of our own planets. We're able to then project and give us more understanding of these exoplanets, you know. So, you know, your gas giants, your Saturn, your Jupiter, your Uranus, your Neptune. You know, you never know. This Planet 9 might be one. That'll give us an idea of these gas giants that are exoplanets. Maybe have a bit more of an understanding of them. That's of course if our solar system isn't unique in planetary construction, if you know what I mean. If space agencies like NASA send probes to fly close to the planet, they could also reveal more clues about the solar system's past. It'll have many secrets that will be unlocked by studying it in detail, Brown said, which is true, except I wouldn't be trusting the modern version of NASA. If it was 1970s NASA and putting up a probe out, I would trust them because of Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 that are still working. Even when they had problems, engineered after 40-odd years, nearly 50 years, they managed to remote bloody boot them and do things to them and whatever. You know, I just find it amazing. But, you know, and then you look at NASA and they're bloody contracting out of the Boeing Starlemon. You know, and then, you know, that was a complete load of garbage. And all they're doing now is bagging Elon Musk, who took half the amount of money from the American taxpayer and has been sending ships bloody back up with SpaceX all the time. This is... Wouldn't you think they'd be going after the bloody sponges at NASA, you know, who and Boeing, who ripped off the American taxpayer, rather than going after Elon Musk, who's just been going up and back and forth and giving them value for their money. But oh no, poor old taxpayer, whether you're in America or Australia, gets the shaft again. Fascinating, isn't it? Absolutely fascinating. All right, well, my name is David. Thanks for joining me for another Studio 64 Science, Space and Tech News update. I shall see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciated. If you're up for it, drop a comment down below the video because I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care, and as I always say, if you can't be good at it. And as I also always say,
I'll be back.